Well, thank you for joining us this morning. Our next guest has over 20 years' experience as a career specialist and has helped hundreds of people of all ages to create the life they want. Here now to share her latest book, Love Your Career from the Start, which is a guide for young adults, we welcome to the Café, Caroline Sandford. Good morning, Caroline.
Good morning, Mel.
Now, before we get started, you were just mentioning that you've actually been selected as a finalist for some awards.
I have indeed, only this week, which is very, very exciting. So there's 6 being selected out of Australasia, I believe, and it's on the Australia Career Book Award, part of Oceania.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you very much. I know, it's very, very exciting.
Well, I'll tell you what, thank you for writing this book too, because I am going to be making my 3 teenagers all read it. They need it. What was your inspiration with writing a career book for young adults?
Okay, so couple of 3 inspirations. First of all, my dad. I watched him, the decisions he made in his life and the effect it had on his mental health. My own decisions, I think I made some interesting ones along the way that my physical health kept on saying to me, "What are you doing?" And yelling at me loudly until I actually took notice. And sort of really taking that and understanding when you don't make decisions that are right for you, then it has an effect. It has quite a significant effect, not only on your mental health, but on your physical health.
It really does. And sometimes you do seem to be, you get sort of railroaded to a particular area that you should be looking at, when maybe that's not for you. What are some of the major obstacles you think for our youths making the right choices for their careers?
Well, I think starting with the right choice sometimes is when people feel like they have to get the one right choice, when we know that we're right in this moment with COVID-19, how the world can come slap and everything you planned has gone out the window. So we need to reframe, pivot ourselves many times over. So it's letting go of having the right decision. The obstacles, I think, can often be you're good at something, therefore you're channeled towards that without even thinking of whether you actually enjoy it, whether it's actually going to suit you. Expectations from people around you that you're going to be doing a particular profession in your future and being trained to that. And so, there's things that happen to us without us actually going, hang on, is this right for me? And so this is what this book is all about, is actually, instead of it all being overwhelming and not knowing how to make decisions, it's really taking people or the reader through sort of a logical process of understanding who they are, and then using the information to be able to explore the options, then identifying the action plan from that, and then be creative with that, because we have to be creative in this world that's continually changing.
And we do, you're right, the pivoting, I mean, that's going for all ages at the moment. But also, you often hear of a young person who studies law, for example, and they do it and they get their degree and then they never use it because they say, oh, that wasn't for me, even though they've done the study. I guess that's an idea of being pointed in the wrong direction or listening to what other people think you should be doing, isn't it?
Or not actually taking control of your own decision making as well, I think. And sometimes individuals don't know what they need to know. I mean, I've seen hundreds and hundreds of clients. I've been in this industry for 20 years, and I've worked with many people later in their career where they've had to rethink and they don't know where to start. And so that's kind of another inspiration, is like, let me help you, early on to actually give you the tools, because you're going to need it several times over.
And I didn't know what I needed to do, what I wanted to do when I was 17 or 18 leaving school. I had absolutely no idea.
Yes, and that's really normal. And I think it's trying to take that panic button off, that you have to make that, as I sort of said at the beginning about that one right decision, but also knowing what you need to consider, like understanding what's important to you, your interests, your personality preferences, your strengths, all part of the picture to be able to make a good decision for yourself.
I really like the notes to parents section at the front of the book. So for those that are watching, tell me a little bit about those and what we need to consider.
Well, I put that there because, parents are I know, being a parent myself, working with many, many parents, that parents want the best thing for their children, but sometimes they just don't know what they need to do. Part of it is actually going, let me stand back. This is not my journey, this is my child's journey, and that journey is going to be unique to them. So it's actually trying to take off the expectations, allowing their child to come home and try out ideas without putting a judgment on it. And often that is the thing, is like, without us knowing, we might go, oh no, you're not going to be that, or like, that's so silly.
Or I want to be a music video director.
Yeah, the waste of time type of thing. But, who's to say that you might be the best music video director, so it's for that individual to be able to explore themselves, but for the parent to walk alongside them, to ask the questions, open questions. What do you know about that? Why are you interested? How can we find out more? As opposed to putting a judgment on it.
So support them and don't ridicule any ideas that they have, because it might be the best idea that they've got. So you've broken the book into 5 parts to work through the strengths and the personality traits, and there's lots of practical exercises in here as well, which I think I'll get the kids to fill out with a pencil so they can all use the same book. How do you look at it? I mean, how does it all work, and how is it helpful? What do you get out of it?
So the very beginning is actually sort of laying some foundations of what are the things that you need to consider. So you need to know for our young people that everyone's at a different stage of development. Everyone has a different influence in their life, and the world is different than it used to be, and it's our kids are having to navigate through changes as so fast. We never had to do as fast as this. So that's their reality. So knowing that at the very beginning, then that stage of when you know yourself and understand all those things I said before, you can go, right, instead of everything being open, I can now say, is this going to be right for me? And I need to assess it in terms of myself, and then exploring that, not going, oh, I've read all that on the internet and yeah, that's great, but actually go and do a taster. Reality testing is a huge part, and there's a lot more to that in that section. Then, to be able to sort of create the possibilities and think differently at the end. My wish would be that they have a really strong sense of self, the ability to be able to make good decisions based on what's right for them, and then to be able to create the strategies to actually make it happen and have the tools for life.
Because it's more a matter of our youth, they're not going to be in a job for life like our fathers or grandfathers used to be. They were mothers. They'll be in something very different. So they need to find those skills that they can take to a whole range of sort of opportunities.
Absolutely.
Is that right?
Absolutely. And also to keep head up and in tune with what's going on out there. I think one of the most important things is don't bury your head in the sand. Yes, there are changes, but keep yourself current. Look around what's happening in the market, which is right now. What industries are gaining traction, are growing right now? What are shrinking? I mean, there's some very obvious ones, but that'll change. The tide will change. But it's also to be able to stay current so that you can make good decisions.
What if you've got a teenager who has absolutely no idea what they want to do?
Well, first of all, read my book. And, if they need to, there's career specialists out there that can actually help and support them. So I think it's first of all, being open as a parent that sometimes you need to allow other people to help or resources to help, but also to be willing to be there along the way with them.
So you also detail the importance of personal interaction and networking too. Do you think that's becoming more difficult with everything being online and sort of social networks online?
Well, I don't know if it's more difficult, and in fact it's becoming rarer, so therefore I encourage it. I think, there's nothing better than a personal interaction rather than an email, and people gravitate towards email because it's safe. But if you can create a personal, face-to-face.
Bit of a connection.
Absolutely, and connection's the word. It's a relationship. People become invested in you when you have a face-to-face interaction. And if you go and, want to find out about a particular occupation and you ask questions in a way that, you're just trying to tap into their wisdom, into their experience, people will help you. Most people will help you.
So what have you seen in your vast career? What can happen if someone doesn't enjoy the job that they're in compared to if they really love it?
I've had people come into my office sometimes, and I kind of get a bit emotional when I talk about this, and they say, my soul is dying. And that, that sounds quite extreme, but that's their reality.
And that's where you spend most of your time too.
And so, it's so important, to turn up every day and not do something that you like to do, or it zaps your energy. How can you thrive in that? We all have the ability to thrive if we find the place that we can do that in.
And that's what this book is going to help you do. Find what you are going to be great at and what you're going to enjoy doing as well.
Yes.
It's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mel.
And Love Your Career from the Start is out right now. Make sure you go grab yourself a copy for your teen.